And welcome everybody to DisruptEDtv, where our job is to introduce you to disruptive, innovative ideas that can improve your school, make for a good outcome for your students. And our guests today are Jim Lipuma. Did I pronounce that right?
That is correct.
Okay, and Jeremy Reich. They are with Future Ready Schools. And a good way to start the interview is, when I'm a Future Ready School, tell me what that's like.
The important thing for Future Ready Schools is that it's tailored to your own situation. So across the state of New Jersey, we have every kind of student in every kind of school, and the goal of every school is to prepare them for success in college, career, and as citizens in the digital age. So a Future Ready School is one who knows where they are now, where they want to go, and how they'll get there. They have a plan, and our whole project is about getting the resources and information to help every school look at where they are and understand where the gaps might be to aid them, because future readiness is not an endpoint. It's a continuum and is always moving, and we want to help every school, help every student succeed.
Oh, okay, that's great. I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me. And I know you're the program director,
Yes.
and you're the project coordinator.
Correct.
So I guess your job is to represent the goal of the Future Ready Schools program, and your job, I guess, Jeremy, is to make it happen for a school. Does that sound right?
Yes, to do all the work.
Okay, so he does all the work. That's very important. And you're both with New Jersey Institute of Technology. You're both here from NJIT, and that's kind of where the program lives for the state of New Jersey. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, great. Now, how many schools do you have? How many schools in New Jersey are Future Ready?
So this year, actually a couple of weeks ago in October at New Jersey School Boards Association's Workshop 2017, we got to certify our inaugural cohort of 63 schools.
Wow. Now your original goal for the year was
20 schools.
20 schools. Wow. So there's been a lot of demand for this, and people are very interested in it. And what does the school get out of it? What is it? If I become a Future Ready School, what do I get?
Prestige.
Okay.
Okay. Which I don't want to undersell that. Schools were extremely excited, and a lot of work. They're not required to do this. It's completely voluntary. But one of the things that they get is that they have come together as a community to understand where they're going, and they can share that. And then they also get the collaboration with other community members, both for their own school boards and their PTA and the other groups in the school. So they can share out, look, this is our plan, and it's not just us telling you, it's other members of the state. But also because the program is a partnership between the New Jersey Department of Education and the New Jersey School Boards Association, the schools see it as something that they're not being required to do, but they're investing this time because it's something that actually is meaningful.
It's meaningful to them. And that's it. We had a little chance to talk before the program, and I have done some work with some schools over the years. The first wave was to get the technology in the schools. So it was about getting computers and tablets and all those things. But now the second wave is about integrating all that technology into the curriculum. We're not just talking about STEM education. We're talking about education at every level for every subject. Isn't that right?
That's correct. We have 3 themes in Future Ready Schools that schools try to get into. So there's leadership, which includes, the board level for budgeting and the superintendent, but also community partnerships. Then the education and classroom practice, where teachers' professional development and their actual activities, their use of time and space. And then, of course, technology, support, and services. And it's all of these things that have to work together for a student to be successful. Otherwise, it's just a treatment. And Jeremy likes to talk about the $1,000 pencil trap.
Yeah,
great.
Please do. Avoid the $1,000 pencil trap. So we work with the head of the NJDOE contingent is Joshua Cohen, and one of his first presentations, he mentioned the $1,000 pencil trap. Where you're taking technology, it's nice, flashy technology to have in the classroom. Your people want it. You need to have technology in the classroom for the future, because if you're not learning with the technology today, how are your students going to be ready for the technology tomorrow? But just throwing technology into the classroom and asking educators to make magic happen, it's not going to happen.
There's a gap.
You're just throwing it into the room, but rather you want technology to help make education and the pedagogical practice more effective and efficient for educator and student.
You don't want a digital worksheet.
Yes.
Okay, so Future Ready, the Future Ready School program is about helping schools learn how to integrate that technology in their curriculum. It's not just about delivering hardware to them and shaking their hands and walking away.
Well, the third theme, the technology, support, and services, the semantics are extremely important in that because it's not the technology that you have, but it's how are you supporting educators' use of that technology from both the IT side and the professional development side.
Okay.
So one of the things I gather out of this is the fact that Future Ready School makes the students far more ready to go into the workplace when they get out there. They got those skills now that an employer can use right away.
Yeah, that is the end goal.
Yeah, and that's the goal of every school, right?
Right.
Very few schools want to not prepare their students, so it's preparing them to do whatever. And the idea is that at the core, that success for the digital age is really about understanding how to individualize instruction so it can be differentiated, because that's what research shows is needed. Whether you're a gifted student and you want to excel, or you're a student who needs certain remediation in one area, or you need an alternate means of expressing yourself through a different way, technology facilitates that, helps collaboration, helps teachers collaborate and students collaborate both with one another and across the bounds to other professionals across the state of New Jersey, the country, even the world. There's international collaborations that some of our schools have brought out that their technology facilitates. It's not the goal to have technology. The goal is to have effective education.
That's so important. And you're talking about future-ready schools across the entire K-12 spectrum, is that right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so we're talking about early education, we're talking about high school education and everything in between?
Yeah, and public, private, and charter.
That's another point. It's not just about public schools, it's also about private and charter schools as well. And the state makes the program available to everybody.
That's correct.
Oh, that's terrific. How does the school get it?
Yeah, so there's two phases of the program. There's a district level commitment and the school certification. So it is a school certification program, but we believe that if you don't, as a school, you do not have the support of your board or superintendent, your district level administration, it's going to be very difficult to achieve the end goal of best preparing students for success. So the district signs the National Future Ready Pledge, enacts a board resolution to create a district level Future Ready team to support the school's efforts, as well as to support that effort. So you have a legal inaction supporting Future Ready Schools New Jersey efforts.
That's the launching process.
And that's the launching process.
We need to take a break though, Jeremy. This is great information. When we come back, I want to finish choreographing that for the people who might be watching, so that they know that if they're not a Future Ready school, how to become one and who they have to contact. We'll get them all that information. And we'll be right back after this break with Jeremy and Jim.
Absolutely.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Welcome back to DisruptEDtv. My name is Al Cini.
My name is Joe Osamendi.
And it's a pleasure to have two great guests with us today. We've got Jim Lipuma and Jeremy Reich. And we're talking about future-ready schools. And just before the break, Jeremy talked about the first step, which to me is deciding that you're going to be a future-ready school. That's the declaration on the part of your district to involve the school board and all the stakeholders to make that work. And you help with that too. Once they say we want to do this, then you kind of help them to get started.
We are there. We are very ensuring that we are supporting the districts and the school efforts at every stage of the process. So we're not just throwing into the fire and hoping for the best. You have Future Ready Schools New Jersey in the form of us helping you through that process in any way that you need.
But that's great. So there's a choreography. You have a project. You're the project coordinator. So there's a project plan, a template that we follow, and you can tell me what step 1 through step 12 are, and that just makes my job a little easier.
Okay. This should not be a burden. We are here to make sure that this is helping districts as opposed to putting some sort of compliance burden upon
That
them,
is
which
so
is
important.
Exactly
I think that's so
opposite of what we
critical.
want.
Even before, what you're really doing is establishing a center of excellence.
Right.
Something a school aspires to, not something a school feels like they have to comply with.
Exactly. And what's important is it's all about collaboration. We ask that the district create a district team that's a future ready team, and the school do it as well so that they can collaborate and communicate across not just their school but other schools in their district and with other districts that are similar demographics. And from there, then there's a series of indicators on our website that have rubrics for them to use to self-assess. There's also numbers of resources so that they can see where they can go for free things to help them along the path wherever they identify a gap or an area of growth. Because whether you're currently future ready or see that you need to be that, you need that support to know how to take the next step, whether it be growing beyond where you are or filling in where you find a lack.
Yeah, and that's going to be different by school and district.
And it should be. I mean, you want that to be. And so there's some flexibility in your plan, depending on how wealthy the school district might be or how financially challenged they might be. And I think I want to talk about the pushback. I don't have the time. This is too complicated. I don't have the money for this. How do you answer that? How do you answer those objections?
Well, the indicators in submitting for the program when you submit for certification school, you're not doing some ginormous assessment that's extremely time consumptive. You're really, it's all the process of self-reflecting and collaborating inclusively. And when you submit to the program for certification, you're submitting things that are artifacts of what you are doing if you're future ready or going towards being future ready in a particular indicator of future readiness, not some large effort beyond that. So it's really a mechanism for a school to bring everyone together who should be in that room from a wide array of educational demographics, self-assessing where are we, where do we want to go, and where can we go, and then figuring out, okay, how do we do that?
What is the time frame from when you submit an application to when you start?
So the district commitment and getting the school involved, you can do that at any time. Every year, we're looking in the late February range for Digital Learning Day, which is run by the National Alliance for Excellent Education, the National Future Ready Group, is when our indicators of future readiness for that year come out. So we're always updating and improving them with our task forces, which are made up of New Jersey educators and leaders. And then from that February point to the end of June is when the submission timeline is. And then it goes to our awards committee to provide feedback and identify exemplars to go into future indicators. In this way, as you cycle through year after year after year, you're growing a list not just of resources that can potentially be used to help you within the context of a particular indicator in the Future Ready framework and what we New Jerseyized it as in the indicators, but also exemplars from other school districts who have done it in the recent past that can help inspire and inform your school's path.
Okay.
And to your point of time, one thing that's important to realize is it's a 3-year certification. So the idea is that putting in this effort, you draw on a lot of the resources you have to have anyway. Like, it's not like you're creating everything new. You have a lot of these things to get the points in those 3 themes I mentioned.
Right.
And you have to have some in each and a total number to make it to get the cut. And then we look at your argument you make. But the idea is that for those 3 years, you can say, okay, we don't do anything else, or you can aspire to identify those areas of growth and go for a higher level. And so the idea is that it's not just a flat thing. So there's a way to enter the program and say, look, we're on the path to future readiness. And then you can either get endorsements in certain specific areas or work toward a higher level of certification if you really want to dig in because your team identifies in a specific area. For example, you mentioned STEM or sustainability. You can get, you can bring out more evidence and more ideas in that specific area so that we can recognize your school or your district in that way.
Well, that's important. So a school can move at whatever pace makes sense for that school. And if some schools can get it done maybe in a year, other schools it might take a little longer, that's okay. It's not a race.
It's not about getting the most number of schools into the program right now. It's about what makes sense for the school and for the district, and how we as an organization, as a program, can help those efforts.
I think that's important. So you join the process not as coaches and as consultants, not as disciplinarians.
Yeah.
It's not about trying to hold somebody to a schedule and evaluating the school in some kind of negative way because they haven't met some guidelines. It's about helping them get there as quickly as they can, without breaking the budget, without overburdening their staff.
And a lot of these things actually save money because it's reducing redundancy and getting resources to do your professional development and things like that. And one of the other things is this is all volunteer run in terms of our task force. Jerry mentioned our task forces. Last year we had 250 volunteers from administrators and non-government organizations and government and businesses who came in to give of their time to talk about building the indicators of what their particular expertise was that they shared. And we're hoping this year we're just opening up the round again to get volunteers so that more people can join to have their voice heard wherever they are, because all of us have an interest in preparing students to be successful in the digital age.
That's terrific. Now, you mentioned a word, you mentioned a phrase, building the indicators. Could you just maybe expand on that a little bit? What does that mean?
go ahead.
So our task forces come together, and the National Future Ready Framework, it has its gears and the elements of those gears, and they're very at the district leadership level. So what our task forces do, and this creates a by educator for educator program in New Jersey. It's not us telling you what success looks like. It's educators themselves who are involved at the front lines working in New Jersey schools, taking those and saying, okay, so what does success in this look like, and how can that get done from our perspective? We, in the end, as Future Ready Schools New Jersey, we're facilitators, we're connectors, but it's truly the educators that are creating the program and what it looks like.
Yeah, we're coming up on a break.
Right.
But we'll be right back with some more Jim and Jeremy and talk about Future Ready Schools.
Absolutely. Be right back.
Welcome back to DisruptEDtv. My name is Alcini.
I'm Joe Osamendi.
And our disruptive idea today is Future Ready Schools, which is a program in New Jersey. We have two great guests talking about future readiness as it relates to schools. Jeremy Reich, who's the program coordinator, project coordinator, and Jim Lipuma, both, by the way, of New Jersey Institute of Technology, and you're the program
Director.
Just before the break, I think we made a great point that it's easy for a school to get started. All they have to do is call you. And a little later on, we're going to tell them how to do that specifically in New Jersey, although there may be other state programs. I wanted to talk a little bit about that. For people who are watching outside of New Jersey, there is a federal, I hate to say federal program because it's really a voluntary national program. Talk a little bit about that and how that might affect people watching from other states.
So most states have some future ready supported idea. The Alliance for Excellent Education, All for Ed, has a program around the Future Ready framework, and they have over 2,200 superintendents from across the country involved with this. They work with some states like Massachusetts and Wisconsin who have a state level thing, and they say that all states are moving towards that area, so you can do that stuff. But also our materials are aligned with the national framework and gears so that you can go in and look at any of our indicators and see something that will work for you. And what I was saying before the break was that our educators built rubrics to say, just beginning, on the right path, moving forward, so that you can kind of assess where you are and get guidance to move from a lower level to a higher level and all of that. And all of this is aligned with those best practices that the National All for Ed group created.
And from a state, you can go on the FutureReady.org, the national website, and you can check whether your state has a leadership program and see who to contact in your state for that support.
Who does what Jeremy does
whatever that support mechanism
in Massachusetts or New York.
And then whatever your role is, that national also is developing micro-certification so that you can show that you are knowledgeable as a technology officer, as a superintendent in these areas, and they also have free resources to support you in understanding strategic planning or technology integration. So it's all about getting those free resources that are out there to you to use how you see fit.
So the integration should be seamless when you're going through this, right?
That's key.
Yes.
Right,
And
it's key.
in fact, talking about integration and the collaborative nature of the program, something that we're very much into is that schools spend a lot of time talking within schools, but they don't spend a lot of time talking between schools. And one advantage of being a future-ready school, or on the track to becoming one, is that you get collaborative access to all the other future-ready schools, certainly in the state, to learn from each other. Isn't that right? I mean, that community is an important part of it.
So we've been working really hard to build a Future Ready Schools New Jersey community to act as a mechanism for that collaboration between schools and districts, because it is difficult to get out of the classroom and talk to educators across. It's even difficult to talk to educators down the hall when you're focused on the students in the classroom and your educators if you're an administrator. So through various mechanisms, through Twitter, we have a new, we're working with a Google partner to build a really awesome collaboration platform on our website, FutureEDtNJ.org, that we're working on, and bringing them together in a variety of events and different mechanisms to enable them to have these conversations and see what's going on in other schools and districts, because everyone is trying to solve the same problems. It's how you solve that works best for your school and district, and not reinventing the wheel.
That's a subject we talk about often.
Absolutely.
Microsoft needs people who know how to use technology. So does Google. I mean, there are a lot of employers out there that are hoping that in the K-12 school environment, we're creating the kind of talent they're going to need later. And they're willing to cooperate with, I mean, they're there and ready to help. Is that right?
Yeah, we have a number of such organizations of many different sizes that have been working with us and supporting us in our efforts.
Oh, that's really powerful. And a topic we discussed briefly before the program, inclusiveness.
Yes.
We have some school districts that are in challenged neighborhoods and other school districts that are in wealthy, let's say, communities. We're totally agnostic with respect to that.
We want to support everyone, and we want them, in fact, to work together, because if you're in a wealthier district and you have money and you have the chance to pilot certain things, other schools can learn from you, and vice versa. We have the largest district in the state. New York is a committed district. Their schools are going to start coming into the program and getting certified, hopefully, in the next cycle. And we have wealthy districts. My hometown of Livingston just committed. We have Morris Plains, where I live, who's committed. And we have districts like that throughout the state with a variety of different political situations and demographic situations.
It's not just, again, its resources aren't just financial, right? The best practices of education exist everywhere.
Right.
And being able to utilize technology to make that better is what we're seeking. And the help that a lot of these companies want to provide is free for everyone, because the resources are there and they just don't have a means of sharing, because some people don't know about it. Some people feel, oh, well, I have an Apple, I can't use Google. We're completely agnostic to your situation, to your companies, to what you're doing. We're putting out the practices that work and helping you collaborate with other people that have like-minded needs and desires.
It's a perfect conduit. It's a perfect conduit to get the information.
It is perfect.
Yeah.
And the logo, it's not about the logo, it's about the outcome. So whatever mix of technology is appropriate for your school, in your neighborhood, whoever wants to sponsor this, whatever relationship you can make, you'll make it work.
Whatever you're using to get to the goal, that's what works to you. It's the goal that matters. It's the inclusive collaboration that matters. It's using what you have in your district and supporting the use of what you have in your district, whether it is technology or personnel, the different educational demographics you have in your school.
Great.
That there's such great potential in all these different areas. Once you get everyone in the room together and assess where are we, what do we have, then that's extremely powerful.
That's terrific.
Because if you think back 10 years, the technology teachers were using is gone, but the technology you're using today didn't exist.
Right.
So to say, oh, well, we have the solution, well, that would only work for now. Technology is replaced so quickly that you can't say, oh, I have the answer. This is what we'll do forever.
They won't be the answer in 5 years. We know that in 5 weeks, maybe. And,
Exactly.
I mean, that tends to change a lot. So it's important to learn. It's important to learn that too, not just this product, but where this product might be going. And we're coming up on that part of the program where you get to tell everybody how to reach you and why they should. But before we do that, I have a question for you. I understand completely why this is beneficial to a student.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about what a faculty member gets from this. What does a teacher get from Future Ready Schools?
Well, one, they get better and more effective professional development, which is something that all the districts need. They get a voice to share with their administrators and their superintendents, to be part of the team. And they also get a connection and a better way to speak to their students and relate to them and the community, their parents, the businesses, the people around there, because all of those groups are part of this now. You know, some of our greatest workers are the members of the PTA, the State Parent-Teacher Association has some of the best insights and made some of the most valuable contributions. And so teachers get connection to all of these. They become part of that community. And in the end, the technology will make their job easier, will give them a better reach, will connect them better with every one of those students that they're trying to help learn the material they're trying to do. It's about making the job easier and more effective so their reach is greater.
So the obvious benefits to students, obvious benefits to faculty, to teachers, and the downsides are minimal by comparison. So
if you find downsides, you can just stop.
Well, Okay, yeah, right, okay,
Or
great.
tell us about
Good
them and
point.
we'll work on getting rid of them.
And
Okay, well-
the community also benefits, community and businesses.
Oh, yeah,
You know, these
definitely.
kids are
I can see
ready.
where this just
There-
creates
there's a whole
conversation
focus
that
on
includes
community
everyone.
partnerships. That's one of the gears
Wow.
of the National Future Ready Framework.
Fantastic, bring everything full circle.
We're at that part of our program where you get to speak into your camera and tell everybody why they should call you and how to get a hold of you. So why don't you go ahead and do that?
So you can contact me. I'm Jeremy Reich at futurereadynj.org. All the information is there. We have a Twitter and Facebook at FRS New Jersey. And if you want to join the community, use the hashtag FutureReadyNJ. You can also call me at 973-596-5432 or email me at FRS-NJ@NJIT.edu. And I will be there to support you. That's what I'm here for.
That's great, Jeremy. And if you're outside the state of New Jersey and want to know how to contact your own local Future Ready School program, at least they can call you and maybe you
Yeah,
can.
I'd be happy to help.
Good.
That'd be great. Terrific. Thank you both. Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you.
It was terrific having you as a guest. Jim
Jim,
Lipuma.
Jeremy, Jim,
Very
thanks so
nice
much.
to be here.
Yeah, terrific having you both. It was very informative. And thank all of you for joining us for this DisruptEDtv. My name is Alcini.
I'm still Joe Asamendi.
And we're looking forward to welcoming you back at our next kind of virtual faculty meeting, our next virtual professional development session.
Thanks for joining us, folks.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Great.